I know our system is corrupt and has always been. Instead of trying to discredit people and calling out their privilege, we need to start banding together. And that sentence in itself is an oxymoron. You can't band together with people without acknowledging that you have some sort of privilege. I will go first. I'm white presenting. That is a privilege. Why is that a privilege? Why is white privilege a thing? Because when I go out into society, when I pop up on someone's For You page, they see a white woman. They do not see an Indigenous woman, which means that their inherent bias hasn't been checked off. Their racism hasn't been hit. And they're more likely to tune in to watch my content, specifically if they are someone who has a bias or has any sort of racism towards Indigenous people. That's just a fact. When I go into a job interview, I'm not going to be discriminated against because I'm an Indigenous person, but I will be discriminated against as a woman. As we've seen in the United States, when they got rid of DEI policies, all of a sudden these women are like, I'm getting fired. I don't understand why. I'm not getting promotions that I should have gotten. I'm really skilled. And they found out that they were the DEI hire. But white people were the original DEI hires. They're the people that came here, and the government had to put everyone else in a chokehold. They had to literally make it so Indigenous people couldn't sell things. They literally, like, the privilege that you speak with is the fact that you don't understand or you don't care, which is kind of what I'm getting, that like Indigenous people couldn't vote. They got the vote after women got the vote in Canada. White men, white women, then Indigenous people. Indigenous people were not considered people under the fucking Constitution in Canada. Quite literally, the Constitution stated that the definition of a person was anyone who wasn't an Indian. So to say we should all just band together, but pretend that people weren't in residential schools until 96, 97. Like, let's just pretend. But then also use that as a weapon to get people to vote in an election the way that we want. And the fact that you feel like someone calling out or saying like you have a privilege discredits you in any sort of way is literally like this inherent ego you have, that anyone saying, hey, you have a sort of privilege here. And you can use that privilege in a good way. You can educate people. You can teach people. You can use your privilege as a white presenting person, me specifically, to educate people. That's a privilege that you can use, and you can call out racism, and you can call out these things. And the thing is as someone who's white presenting, I've been in situations where people think I'm white and they start saying some racist ass shit. And that's a way that I can be like, what the fuck's going on here, and call them out in the moment. That's something I can do, right? But if I pretend that I don't have that privilege and I just sit there in silence and don't say anything, how is that banding together? Quickly, because it sounds like you really just want what you want pushed forward, not what everyone wants. And that's inherently my issue with conservatives. You want what you want when you want it, and you don't care about anyone else. And that's why when you put questions into ChatGPT, you're going to get biased answers, because I can see your bias. And that's not, like I said in the last video, a bias is not an inherently bad thing. We all have biases. But to ignore them and not want to educate yourself and just pretend that they don't exist, that privilege doesn't exist, that bias doesn't exist, to not be rooted in education while saying that you fact check, you look at sources. It's like, well, not really, because there's a part of it you're not wanting to look at because it hurts. It doesn't feel the best. But ultimately, if you want to make any meaningful progress or change, or you want the things you care about to move forward, unless it's white supremacy, because hey, if that's the road you're on, the conversation's dead in the water. But if you want to make progress, if you want to move forward, if you care about other people who don't look like you would want to learn about what privileges you hold, what that means for you as a person. And that takes unpacking, because it's something that's been drilled in you since childhood. It was something that's drilled into everyone, even people of color. There's even people of color who have an inherent bias towards people of color because their entire life they've been told that people of color are lesser than. And that's something that everyone has to unpack. But like I said, I could write a 10-page paper about how your sentence is in fact an oxymoron. They don't go together. You can't say that you're wanting to work together and you care about other people, but you don't want to look at your privilege, because that hurts and makes you feel uncomfy. It hurts and makes you feel uncomfy because it hurts other people. and it makes them feel uncomfy every day. And if the worst thing you have to go through is unpacking it and feeling those feelings and acknowledging it and understanding your role you've played in it, while other people are being actively harmed every day of their life because they look different than you, and the worst you have to feel is your feelings, I feel like that's not too big of an ask. And if it is too big of an ask, then you probably align with the very people that I'm talking about.